get started here. Have a seat. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship West Regional here at Crypto.com Arena. A couple announcements before we get underway. As a courtesy to your fellow media members and team participants, please remember to silence your cell phones. For those of us in the room here, if you have a question, please raise your hand. We have two mic holders, Wesley and Luke, and they'll make their way over to you. We ask that you provide your name and media affiliation each time that you ask a question during the press conferences. For those of us joining on Zoom, please make sure to raise your hand. Use the raise hand function, and we'll get over to you. We're going to address questions in the room first and then over Zoom. And a reminder here that recording of press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. One final reminder before we get underway, our satellite coordinates for today are SES3, transponder 14, slot B9. Hope you all got that. Downlink 11,975.5 vertical, date rate 11.914, symbol 7.2. If you have any further questions, that was a lot of numbers, I know. If you have any further questions about satellite coordinates, please see the representatives in the back of the room from Hammond Communications. All right, with that, we will get our press conference started here with Clemson head coach Brad Brownell. Brad, we ask that you just provide an opening statement here, and then we'll get started with questions.
Yeah, obviously really happy to be here. Proud of my team and the way that we played last week. I thought we had some terrific performances, and certainly we'll need one of those this next game against Arizona. I've watched them a good bit throughout the year. Tommy's done an unbelievable job at Arizona here these last couple years. This team, like most, super dynamic offensively, really good inside-out offense, a little bit like we play. We're very familiar with Caleb Love and obviously how good a player he is from his time at Carolina. It'll be a raucous crowd with a lot of Arizona fans, but we're super excited to be here. Our guys have worked really hard, and we're looking for the opportunity.
Right here, sir. We'll go here right in front.
John Blau with the Post and Courier. Sorry for the offbeat question, but Boz Leida, what has it been like to kind of see him transform from a guy you're obviously hoping to have some pretty good minutes as a reserve to kind of that team hype man?
Yeah. He's just a terrific kid. We knew that. We had Ben Middlebrooks leave and in the transfer portal, and obviously when you have a guy like PJ back, there's not going to be a lot of minutes, so it's hard to recruit somebody to come in. We told him it's going to be a 5 to 7 minute job, and he just wanted the opportunity to play at the high major level. Wants to be a coach. I think that really spoke to me. He's an unbelievable energy giver in terms of a person, and it's unfortunate that he's had some shoulder issues this year and won't be able to finish the season. But what he's meant just in terms of energy and positivity, tremendous. And to have a guy who cares about the team and just about the experience really helps keep us, in a good place. And there were times this year when that wasn't easy.
We'll go in the back.
Joe Reedy, Associated Press. Brad, how much did the propel you to this year, the support that you got from the administration last year after narrowly missing the tournament, but also Joe and PJ came out pretty emphatically and supported you after the Baylor game? How much did that mean too?
Yeah, it always means a lot when your players have your back. It's just special, right? I have tremendous relationships with my guys, and certainly PJ, somebody I've started recruiting him when he was probably 15, 16 years old. So we've been together forever, competed against Joe, and I think it speaks to Joe's Clemson experience, how much he's really enjoyed being a part of our program. In terms of administrative support, I've been lucky. I've had great support for 14 years, and I think we've had a consistent program. We would like to have made the NCAA tournament a couple more times. Last year was excruciatingly painful as we were one of the last teams left out. It happened to us in 2019 as well. But we have had, we've had some good teams. We've I've said this before, we're 5th in the ACC in wins over the last 5 to 7 years. I don't think people would, be a great bar question, right? I think we would not be somebody that people would think that. But we've been very consistent. I think we have a lot of respect from the coaches in our league. But, again, it's what do you do in March? This is the biggest time of year. And so in 18, we went to the Sweet 16. To be able to come back here, in 24, I think, again, there's not as many programs as you would think that have been to a couple in the last 7 years. And so we're moving the needle. We're trying to continue to push it forward. But I've been very fortunate in my 14 years at Clemson that I've had Graham Neff, who is my 3rd athletic director, and we have a great relationship and have had for a long time. He's was the number 2 man for a long time under Dan Radakovich, and he was in my sports supervisor, so we've been close. And I'm extremely grateful for that, and having had the opportunity as long as I have to be the coach at a place that I really enjoy.
We'll go right here in the front.
Anthony Vasquez, KTLA. Considering that you made the Sweet 16 in 2018, but a lot of players on this roster maybe don't have experience playing this deep in the tournament, what's been the message this week?
Yeah, don't just be happy to be here. We talked, at one point during the season, I think it was in January when we were struggling, I had a really hard meeting with our players, and I told them I was, we were teetering a little bit. We had an unbelievable November and December. We were, I don't know if it's just so excited to play, and we played a really hard schedule, and we won a bunch of games, and we had like no adversity, and we were 10-1 and playing great, and then came back from Christmas and got smacked in the mouth by some teams in our league, and had a hard time stringing some games together. We lost a bunch of close games, one-point games. And at one point I told our team, I think we were 4-6 in the ACC, and I said, guys, we need to understand something. I think some of you guys think we're the 10-1 team. Right now we're the 4-6 team. And if we go 4-6 again, we won't be playing in the NCAA tournament. And I said, that'd be a shame because of what you did the first 2 months of the year, but also because I think we're good enough to go to the Final Four. And that's not something that I throw around easily. And I asked my older players, have you ever heard me say that to you? And they said, no. I know my 2018 team, I said the same thing to them. I thought we were good enough to do it. But obviously we're going to have to finish the season the right way. And we played better. Still a little inconsistent at times, but I do think there's a belief that our guys have that we're pretty good, and when we're clicking, we can play with anybody in the country. We've proven that. We've beaten some of the teams in this tournament, and so I think that's a big part of it. But these seasons are so long; they're almost too long, to be honest with you. We start practicing in September, and now we're at the end of March. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have some times that don't go well, and you got to respond.
Here.
Darren Carter, Greenville News.
Yep.
Coach, Josh Beadle, he didn't play against Baylor, and I think he logged 3 minutes against New Mexico. What has caused his minutes to go down?
It's nothing that he's done. It's just been coach's decision based on how other guys have played. We've gone with our starters more experienced players in these big time games.
Shelby Swanson with the Daily Tar Heel. Coach, obviously, you don't want the road to end here, but what can you say just about having 4 teams here representing the ACC in the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I've been pretty outspoken that I've been in our league 14 years, and so I knew the quality of play that we had this year. I thought we were extremely deep. I told everybody before the ACC tournament that I wouldn't be shocked if a higher seed team won, or lower seed, however you want to look at it. And NC State won our tournament. I just think that there's great parity in our league, and it seems for whatever reason, I think because we have a lot of different styles of play in our league, that when we get to the NCAA tournament, we've kind of seen everything, and our teams adjust and seem to play very well this time of year. So certainly there's a tremendous amount of pride with our coaches and players that the ACC is performing as well as it is. But again, I don't think that any of us are surprised by that.
We'll go to the third row.
Yeah, hi, Bruce Pascoe from the Arizona Daily Star. Coach, I think Arizona got back home about 6 p.m. on Saturday. You guys played Sunday night. I was wondering, did you go home to Clemson? And what was that short turnaround like?
Yeah, we had a less than ideal probably. We got home at 3:30 in the morning on Sunday. And then, kind of realized we play on Thursday, so we better get back out to California. And so we chartered a plane and we had to drive an hour to Greenville, so we left campus at 4 o'clock. So we were really only home about 12 hours. And, yesterday was a little challenging. We practiced, but it wasn't easy. Just trying to get our legs back, just get used to the time change and all of that. I'm optimistic we'll be ready to go tomorrow, but it's been a quick turnaround, that's for sure. A lot of sleepless nights for the staff trying to get ready.
We'll keep it in the third row. Go ahead.
Beth Harris, AP. Brad, I'm wondering, the NCAA president said today that they're going to start working on some kind of plan to ban prop bets on individual players. And I'm wondering if you have an opinion on that, and also whether you've seen any of your players get harassed or bothered either at home or on the road about stats and things like that this season.
I haven't seen it personally. It wouldn't shock me. People are extremely aggressive these days. We get phone calls in our office sometimes when things obviously don't go better's way, and we get some nasty calls. So I know our players probably get that through social media. Obviously, I'm for that. And, it's a really unique time with everything going on in college athletics, and now the gambling piece is a whole nother, log on the fire. So it's really, this is so special. This whole experience as a young person is so special that I know it's professionalizing in a lot of ways, and I'm a little more old school, and that it worries me tremendously. And, that's another thing to be worried about.
Quickly, for those joining us on Zoom, if you do have a question, please use the raise hand function. Keep it in the room here. Go ahead, right in the front.
Darian Carter, Greenville News. Joseph Girard, he's having a career year from the three-point line and the free throw line.
Yeah.
With him being a graduate student, did you guys help him with his average? Or is that just Joe being Joe?
I think it's a combination. I think his experience certainly helps. I think his poise, his swagger, the fact he's been in all these moments, he's been in every kind of situation you can be in as a player. He's got that inner belief that you can't coach. But then I also think we've done a good job as a staff and players of putting him in positions to be successful. And, he certainly has capitalized on that.
We've got time for two more here. Let's go over there and then.
Standing on Joe, how much has he meant to the program for you, just coming from Syracuse and somebody who you watched for 4 years?
Yeah, he's meant a lot. We knew we had a good team coming back. Chase, Ian, PJ especially. You have three really good players. We lost Hunter Tyson, who's playing for the Denver Nuggets, and Brevin Galloway, two starters. And we wanted a wing with size, and so we went out and got Jack Clark, somebody who could defend and rebound. And then we wanted some scoring because Hunter was a first-team All-League scoring type guy. And what I'm really proud of is I think the guys within our program opened the transfer, brought the transfers in with open arms. And I think that's maybe a bigger deal than people realize. Is it's great to want to bring in a bunch of transfers, but the guys in your program got to be up for that too, or you're going to have bad chemistry issues. We haven't had that. PJ and Chase, I think, recruited Joe about as hard as we could to get him here, partly because we knew what kind of player he was and that he was going to be a good fit. And I think Joe, having competed against our team for 4 years in the same league, had a good feel for how we play, had seen guys in our program be successful, liked our style, and felt like this would be a good place for him.
Final question over here.
Yeah, Coach. Asking about the front court, what do you face in Arizona with Barlow and Krivas and Johnson? What are your expectations?
Yeah, they're tremendous. I mean, they've got a lot of really good players. Certainly, what you're impressed with is the way they have balance. They play with pace. They certainly have an inside presence. I mean, they go right to Barlow on the high-low right away, initially on almost every possession. Johnson is super athletic, competitive, tough. Beats you off the bounce, can make a three, can guard 5 men. He does everything, switches on to guards. They just, as you would expect, a team who's had as much success as they have, top 10 team throughout the year, they've got a lot of really good players. They've got experience, both on the perimeter and in the post.
Well, thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
All right, joining us here on the stage is Chase Hunter, Joseph Girard III, and PJ Hall. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Again, remember to state your media affiliation before asking the question. Go ahead, we'll start right here.
Darian Carter, Greenville News. This is a question for you, Joe. You having a career high in three-point shooting and free throw percentage. How have you refined your shot entering this 5th season to boast those averages?
I mean, just, being consistent in the gym, trying to, work out as much as I can. But I think, too, I obviously had some great teammates at Syracuse, great teams, and a great system. And, some of those guys are even in the NBA. But just a new system, it's a different kind of offense where, there's a lot of other great players around me who can do different things that kind of make my job a lot easier. And, it's just, like I said, that a lot of the credit goes to the system that Coach Brownell has here, and obviously the players around me who take a lot of pressure off me to kind of just focus on maybe sometimes an easier catch and shoot than I've had before.
Go to the back row.
Joe Reedy, Associated Press. Joe, PJ, you came out emphatically and supported your coach after Sunday's win over Baylor. Just what caused you guys to do that? Was it just stuff that popped up over the year and just getting into Sweet 16?
Yeah. I mean, you see, we're all online nowadays. It's social media. You see a lot of the things that people might say about players, coaches, teams, whatever it may be. And, us as players obviously didn't end the season the way we wanted to against a few teams and lost some, pretty bad games and pretty badly. And a lot of times Coach Brownell's the one getting heckled for it. So we just wanted to show that we had support for him. Obviously, he's been here for 14 years, one of the better ones in the ACC. And we just kind of wanted to show support. Because getting to the Sweet 16 is not easy, and to have him leading us here is a pretty good job.
Yeah, a lot of the same. It's the second Sweet 16 in 7 years, and it's over the past 6 or 7 years is also one of his coaches in the ACC is I think he's like top 6 winning coach in the league. So, I mean, there's a lot of credit that he is due and doesn't get, and so playing for him for 4 years and being a South Carolina kid, whenever someone goes after somebody who you've been playing for, it's not fun or easy. And so, being able to win for him, we continued on this run is special.
What made you ultimately choose Clemson and just being welcomed immediately and just how things have gone this year?
I think just being comfortable with them, familiar with them for 4 years, played against them a bunch of times, and kind of knew the system, knew the familiarity, knew how much these guys like playing for each other, and had a little bit of a connection to Coach Donlin back when he was at Michigan, with Coach Beeline back to my high school days, so I was familiar with him. And then when Coach Donlin and Coach Brownell came to my house for an in-home visit, I always tell the story. They were bragging about the locker room and how great these guys were to each other, and how much they really enjoyed playing together. And that was something I wanted to be a part of for my last year. And I obviously knew how great how great of a team they had last year, and a lot of those guys were coming back. So I had one shot at it to kind of get to a moment like this, to get back to a Sweet 16 like I did my sophomore year, and I felt like these guys gave me the best chance, and they've been nothing short of the best teammates I've ever had.
We'll go to the 4th row.
Brian Hamilton from The Athletic. PJ Chase, why has Joe been a fit? Why is the 5th-year guy coming in from Syracuse, why has he fit so well in the room?
sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just because he's a great player and a great guy. And, he came on a visit, and we immediately clicked. I told him that I want the best for both of us when he came. I was glad when he committed. But I think the biggest thing is, like he said, we're all great players and we all want to see each other win. And so when that's on the court, you can see it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff that speaks to his game with his shooting and playmaking ability, but that's not going to work out if you're not a good dude. And so, coming on his visit first time and staying here for a couple of days and just meshing with the guys right away, we all knew that he was a perfect fit for our culture and our program. And, it's been nothing short of that. And so we get out and play golf a good bit whenever we're not in season, and we have a good time. And it's whenever you're able to connect with somebody that fast and that easy, it's a good fit for the team. Yeah.
Over here in third row.
Jordan Mendoza, USA Today Sports. Coach had mentioned that you guys had familiarity with playing Caleb Love before, and you guys have all had experience playing against him too. And him having one of his best seasons, how are you guys approaching like the familiarity aspect of facing him, and then just also like how he's been able to elevate his game this season?
Star player for sure. He's definitely coming to his own this year. He's having a great year, one of his best statistics year as well. I mean, it's incredible to watch and kind of keep track of from afar after playing against him for a couple of years. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of good players on that team, and one thing that we've done these past 2 games, try to make guys uncomfortable, try to make guys get out of a rhythm, and I think that's kind of the same thing for this game. I think that kind of speaks in general for all games. When you're going against a good, great player like that, you just got to kind of try to limit his chances. Yeah.
Over here in the fourth row.
For PJ, Arizona likes to go to Ballo a lot, and they like to move the pace, fast pace, very well. For you got in foul trouble in the last game. What are some keys for you to be successful in this game?
Probably just not put myself in positions to get those early fouls and dumb fouls. I do my work early and make sure I'm putting myself in positions to succeed, fighting early and stuff like that. And, just also, as corny as it sounds, sticking to your fundamentals, not using your hands, using your elbows and forearms and stuff, and making sure you're not grabbing. All the stupid stuff that can get you those dumb fouls, try to stay away from that.
We'll keep it in the fourth row.
Addison Kombach here with Arizona PBS. This is for Chase and Joe. Kind of bouncing off that. Arizona plays at such a high-level pace. They move the ball up and down quickly. How do you guys kind of plan to neutralize, like, Colin Boswell, Caleb Love, and those guys?
Yeah, just making things hard for them. Making sure they're not getting any easy looks. Making sure that we're closing out hard on them. Not letting them get in the lane. And then, the thing is they got to guard us too. So, making things hard for them offensively as well. And then, like I said, just making things hard for them and let them get some easy open looks early.
Yeah, I think what Chase said is, hit it right on the head, is not letting these guys get easy ones early, because that's when, a basketball player gets a lot of confidence. And those guys are, like you said, great players. So when you let a great player get confidence early, it's usually a struggle bus for the, the defense. So we're just going to have to be locked in early and make sure that there's nothing easy.
Over here in the first row.
Anthony Vasquez, KTLA. Question for PJ and Joe. How do you think the team has responded after a sloppy end to the regular season and the ACC tournament to now playing in the Sweet 16?
Yeah, great. And, it's funny, like you hear that a lot. Obviously, the last game we played, it was more than sloppy. It was terrible. But, I mean, watch that outlier leading into that, even though we had a couple of losses at the end of the season. We were playing some of our best ball. And people tend to overlook that. We had won a good amount of games leading into the Notre Dame game, then had a couple of guys out, and then also ended up having a tough loss at Wake, even though going back and watching the film, our defense was pretty solid overall. They hit a lot of tough shots. So coming into the tournament, I think Coach said it the other day, I mean, we had a pretty quiet confidence about ourselves. We had a lot of people talking about us saying that, I mean, we were picked, I'm pretty sure, we were the underdog for the first game, and I mean, it was kind of like a slap in the face. And so, going into that, having a quiet confidence and chipping your shoulder, knowing that we can come in here and make some noise is, been our attitude. And keeping that confidence is huge.
I think, I said it last week. We just kind of want to get our competitive edge back. And, that week of practice from, again, you got to kind of try and take a positive from every negative. So, we lost that game at BC, but it gave us like 9 days, until we had to play again. And, we had a lot of practices, a lot of time in the gym together, a lot of meetings, a lot of film. And it kind of just gave us an opportunity to get that competitive spirit back that we had earlier in the season when we were winning a bunch of games. And, it gave us a lot of confidence going into the, early games here in the tournament. So, and like Coach says, you kind of got to just try and bottle that momentum up as best as you can and keep it moving forward.
follow-up for Joe. What's it like being back in the Sweet 16? You made it with Syracuse. What's it like being back here at Clemson?
It's unbelievable, man, and that was one of the things in the transfer portal that I was really looking forward to, is finding a team that I could get back here, because there is no feeling like playing in March, and these guys are unbelievable the way they brought me in, and they obviously have an unbelievable culture, unbelievable system, unbelievable players and coaches. So it's unreal, man, and it's a dream come true, honestly. And I'm just so thankful to be back here, but hoping to make it even farther this time.
Do we have any other questions? Go ahead, right here.
Jordan Mendoza, USA Today Sports. Coach had mentioned, like the power of the ACC getting 4 teams in to the Sweet 16. You guys faced them all season, and when the conference was kind of not getting the love that it usually gets this season, like, does it surprise you guys to see 4 ACC schools make the Sweet 16 at all?
No, not in the least bit. I mean, it's funny, like, that's happened like every year. I don't know about 4 in the Sweet 16, but like a couple years ago we had 3 in the Elite 8, 2 in the Final 4. Like, it's every year we get not enough respect and disrespected all year. Conference is down, and then we come here and start waxing people. And so, I mean, the ACC is, as good as it's ever been. I don't know that, but a lot of great coaches, a lot of great players, NBA type players, and that's why, like, in the non-conference, you come back into any conference and everyone's like, oh, it's imploding on itself. No, it's because we have a lot of good teams from 16 to 1 or however many teams are in there. So there's definitely not a dip in talent.
Do we have any other questions for the student athletes? I don't see any here on Zoom. Last call. All right. Chase, PJ, Joseph, thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.